Yes, welcome back after lunch. Don't fall asleep immediately. My name is Axel Pawlik. I'm the Managing Director of the RIPE NCC, as you probably have heard before. I want to give you a short update on what we are up to, what is happening, and of course, for those of you who are new here and new to us, a couple of words about what the RIPE NCC is. As Alexander said, we are the Secretariat for the RIPE community, and you're part of the RIPE community. We have a number of jobs that a number of tasks that were set to be necessary to be done in a neutral and impartial environment. So at the time, many years ago, this little secretariat was set up in Amsterdam with the primary task at the time to implement, to manage the RIPE database, contact information about who is running which parts of the NAS and Internet at the time. Shortly thereafter, we were asked to also allocate IP numbering resources, as we call them today, IP addresses, ASN numbers. Through that way, we became one of the first regional Internet registry in that sense. Now we are serving Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Central Asia. 76 countries overall. It's quite a bit, with quite a number of different languages. So that's always a bit of our challenge there. Yes, as the area, we do allocate IP numbering resources, I mentioned that, but we do all sorts of other things as well in terms of outreach, of course, to our membership and community, but also to others that we originally thought a little bit outside of our regular traditional community, like regulators and governments and the like. But also we build tools for operators. We do measurements, you heard about those. We do lots of training. And basically, we do everything that our community and our members think they have consensus on for us doing it. So if you have any ideas, please do let us know, and we'll see what we can do with that. About the NCC itself, in terms of principles, we are a membership association. We heard that a moment ago. We are independent. We are not for profit. We are run very much bottom up through the members. They tell us what to do. They elect the executive board and the like. So basically, anybody can become a member. We are incorporated in the Netherlands. We are governed by Dutch law in that case then. We are fully funded by our members, in that sense, fully autonomous. We can do what our members want us to do. We don't have to do what any third party finds interesting and telling us to do or not to do. Like I said, we were set up to be neutral, so this is sort of the mantra, the four crucial words of describing the RIPE NCC and its community. We are open, we are transparent, we are neutral, we are impartial. And a colleague of mine, Paul Rendeck, always says, but neutral, we are not really neutral. Yes, we are neutral in this sense. What we are not neutral where we are not that neutral is by defending our community's interest against other people on the outside. There we are, of course, doing your work. We have offices in Amsterdam and in Dubai. For about overall, our staff level fluctuates somewhere on the mid-30s to 40s, so 140 people roughly there. We have also two staff members, Max and Alex, working from Moscow. You know those people too. We do a yearly document. We write a document, or we modify last year's document. We call that an activity plan. Also associated with that is a budget for any given coming year. That document, the activity plan, very closely documents what we are doing, what we have consensus for, what our board tells us to do, basically what we heard from our community. So in this document, we have a focus section that highlights our special interest, our special attention for a year. So for this year, 2016, we have in that we would maintain a strong registry. Obviously, the registry of internet addresses and the associated contacts is extremely important, that we have it, that it's correct, that it's well maintained. So a strong registry is our topmost priority and will continue to be that. Also, outreach and external relations through our whole service region. Like I said, we have 76 countries in our service region. It's quite a bit of work there, but we do all sorts of things. We do regional meetings. Now, ENOG started as a regional meeting many years ago. We also do member lunches where we associate ourselves to any meeting that touches on our community in the area. It might be a local conference, it might be a network operators group meeting, it might be a training meeting, and then we say, look, since we are in a given city, let's look up our members there and invite them for a lunch for 2 hours, 3 hours, just for a bit of friendly chit-chat to understand what their concerns are, so that we understand them better. Trainings, obviously, we do. What we also want to do is to look at our overall training effort and make it better, again, by understanding better what you need from us and to improve that. And of course, all our processes, the back office at home needs to be always continually improved. And we are doing that. We are currently, for instance, looking at the new ticketing system, stuff like that, that you probably won't see on the outside that intensively. Okay, the ticketing system might be an exception there. But basically that allows us to do our services more efficiently and cheaper. So member feedback, that's something that all staff members here have been told, go talk to our members and bring back the information that you get from them, what they like, what they don't like, what we should be doing, where they see room for improvement on our work. So please help us with that and do talk to us and let us know. Also, we want to look at enhanced statistics and analysis of the data that we have at the RIPE NCC. That's one of the projects that is in full swing currently. Other things in the focus is, the RIPE NCC survey. You see those yellow cards out there, and probably all of you have already filled in the membership survey, right? Because it's interesting for us to see what comes out of it. Also, you can win iPads. RIPE Atlas is something that we want to grow, and we've heard about it quite a bit already. It's growing in popularity and use. That's a good thing. K-Root, we are also one of the root server operators for many years, and for a while we grew them, we multicasted them, then we didn't put much more emphasis on that in our activity, but now we are doing that again. We have grown them to just short of 40 nodes in over 25 countries, and this is something that we do on request mostly. We are not actively, strongly pushing it, but we are developing the model. We have developed the model. And of course, but that's mostly interesting for our own stuff, is, hey, we're going to move in Amsterdam, and we think it will be this year. It better be this year, because otherwise we're out in the streets. We're moving to near Central Station in Amsterdam, for those who have been there. It's a slightly more modern setting, more open setting, better suited for collaboration and communication within the company, which of course is also important and helps delivering good services to you. We heard about membership growth, we heard about multiple LIRs, we heard about not having multiple LIRs for a couple of months. What we see over the last 2 years or so is a fairly insane growth in membership. And it has all sorts of different reasons. We see similar development in APNIC as well, in the Asia-Pacific region. What we are seeing is that we have 13,750 and more members at this point in time. That, of course, requires some adjustments in our processes. Again, efficiencies there, being a responsive membership organization. That is important. So also, of course, seeing all those members coming in, we wonder, who are they really? And when we look at them, we see that it's not ISPs anymore. It's not all ISPs anymore. In the early days, it was ISPs, and it was sort of a couple of enterprises. What we see now is there's lots of enterprises, lots of non-ISPs, lots of people or companies that need addresses and want addresses, but we don't really know. Banks, for instance, or manufacturing industry, what are those people's needs? What do we need to do for them? So that's something that we are currently looking at, finding out who they are, and then going out and asking them, say, what is it you're after? Is it just IP addresses? Or do we have specific interests, specific needs that we should address? So yes, does our current service portfolio cater to those new members? That's interesting. 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, or 2 weeks ago, we had a big RIPE meeting in Copenhagen, and as we do, we had also a general meeting of the association there with quite a number of people attending in person, but also remotely. We had a record of nearly 1,200 registrations for voting there. That's very good. I do remember general meetings where we had like 14 people in the room, so this is quite nice. Also looking at the ENOG region, 125 registrations from around here. That sort of fairly reflects the overall participation there, so well done there. But of course we want more of you to attend next time, register. As we do at general meetings, once a year, members to the executive board, my bosses, are being elected, and in this case, Nigel and Remco came back. They were sort of the incumbents too. There were 2 other candidates, and we thank them very much for standing. It's always nice to have more candidates than open seats, obviously. So that is the outcome of that. We have been asked years ago to decide on the charging scheme for a year earlier in the previous year, not towards the end of the year, but earlier. So also the charging scheme for next year was on the agenda, and that was adopted. And basically what happens is nothing. It'll be the same charging scheme that we have in effect for 2016, so no changes needed there. Also, the board had formally previously agreed to, or promised to have a membership decision in the multiple LAR per member case, and that happened there. And as you've heard, the possibility is back, and we are now working on processes to make that happen, to allow that and to implement this. And well, you'll see the outcome of that over the next couple of weeks. Regional presence, I said we have a really, really big service region. We are doing more and more regional meetings. Obviously, we are supporting ENOG and MENOG and the Southeastern meeting as well, Southeastern Europe meeting as well. But also smaller meetings in countries that wouldn't be able maybe to host such a big meeting like this. We do smaller events. We do membership lunches. I mentioned them earlier. Network operating groups within our service region, we do support. Also, financially, moderately, if they come and talk to us about that. Of course, also we go and present about what we are doing. I mentioned ongoing support for ENOG, of course, and its community. And what we are also striving to do is to connect more sustainably, possibly, with the governments within our service region. Governments and regulators are important. We sort of see them also as part of the community. And some of them take that seriously and even come to RIPE meetings and participate in the policy development process. Others are a little bit more hands-off and more observing. But it's important that they know what we're doing, what you are doing, how we're doing this, and that generally things are well with the internet. So, regional presence, I mentioned 2 staff members, Max and Alex, you know them. Yes, events in the region. We are doing lots and lots of different things, like I said. And from this map, we basically see that the concentration in this region in events that we are doing is relatively high, if not in events per square kilometer, but per country certainly. Like I said, we do member lunches and go out to meet our members over lunch here and there. And this is again the map of where we had those member lunches in red and where we want to go over the next couple of months. As far as we know by now, that's the little green dots. So it's not bad. RIPE Atlas, we always had the goal, more or less informally, to have 10,000 probes running. Now we are at 9,390 odd, so it's getting there, They continue running quite a high number of measurements, it's really great. Also the somewhat fatter RIPE Atlas anchors are out there, nearly 200, that's also quite nice to see. And again, the appeal to you, if you find an empty USB slot and have a little bit of power left for our Atlas probes, please do help us with this and get them and plug them in and take part in all of this. We do see recently many more publications about Atlas uses they're not done by us, they are done by community members. They find it increasingly interesting. So go and have a read at that and get some inspiration of what it might mean for you as well. So certification, RPKI, that's something that's going on for a couple of years already. It was sort of a bit of a slow start, but now we have 3,500 members that have a certificate. We do see lots of rows covering quite a high number of ASNs and prefixes there. Basically, all address space can be covered by certificates now, which is great. So it's a steady curve up and to the right, and we will see it continuing. We do see quite a number of requests to us from big parties that use this, IXPs for instance. So we do see quite a bit of demand. We stood there 2 weeks ago at the right meeting and said, hey, we want to redo this validator, APK validator. That requires some development time. We think it's important that we do this. And we got basically support for that. So again, the slide is here. If you think that's a good idea, do talk to us. And certainly, if you don't think it's a good idea. Training, I said, we do lots of training. We decided we can't do all the can't fulfill all the training demand that we have out there, so we set up the RIPE NCC Academy as sort of an online tool with certificates for you to go and learn, even if you're not coming to a course, can't do that because of time maybe or travel restrictions. We also want to reach out to, or we are reaching out for quite a while now, again, to the academic world. We sort of come from the academic world and then for a couple of years forgot about them a little bit, but we are coming back and inviting contributions here. I think it's really showing its worth, and we see presentations as well here. And what we the survey, I mentioned the survey, do fill it in. It's running now another couple of weeks. With a bit of luck, you can win an iPad. It's very important for you that you fill it in so that we know what you want. And that is me. I hope I haven't overcroached too much. If you have any questions, ask me, ask my colleagues. I don't know how we want to do this. Sergey.
Okay, I see questions.
Hi, Axel.
Elvis.
Elvis Velavi for escrow. So the registry system used to stay on 3 pillars: conservation, aggregation, registration. Now, going back to one of the slides, when you're talking about processes to implement the multiple LIR thingy, will the NCC think about aggregation when people will register several LIRs and maybe send several requests at the same time, hoping to get not a /22, but let's say 4 in one block? I mean, that's still one of your goals next to registration. Conservation has gone.
Yes. Let me say, yes, it should be one of our goals still. But if we look at what's happening in the routing tables, I think with what we are seeing with lots of trading going on, people don't care for aggregation that much anymore. But we should see what we can do with reasonable effort. Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, I support this question.
Yes.
Because for me, I was registering class /22s for 2 LIRs. One of them got to be merged, and I got to adjacent blocks, but not aggregatable. So I think it should be an attention. And other questions?
Thomas King from DKIX. One comment, not a question. If you redo your RPKI validator, that's highly appreciated, and please make it ready for production time so that it can be used in a production environment.
That is
Perfect.
exactly the idea here. Thank you. Nick.
Okay.
Nick, behind you.
Hello. Oh, so thank you. As it turns out, one of the iPad winners happens to be here at ENOG, and Roman Sokolov, if he's still around, please come to the registration desk, and we can help you out. So congratulations. And so this.
Роман Соколов. Если в аудитории хоть кто-то, кто называется Роман Соколов, нет претендентов.
So again, we encourage everyone to fill out that survey. You can still win an iPad. Thank you.
It's real.